July the 31st, 2018. My name is Gary Tucker, but my friends call me Tuck. I guess these are going to be the Tuck Talks from here on in. I'm kind of enjoying this process. If I'm not going to be all bottled up and a hermit and a recluse, then I suppose I'd better expand and include the whole world. And that means you, and you, and you. So here we go. It's the end of another month. The month of July has died. So let's talk about death. Every writer's always been fascinated with death. Every human being should be fascinated with death. There's a cycle that was originally supported in the East that talks about 5 stages that everything goes through: birth, growth, decay, death, and rebirth. Birth, growth, decay, death, and rebirth. I see that cycle in play all around me every moment of every day, and I see it in my own life. Most people are afraid of death. Most people are terrified of death, and most people ignore death to their own detriment. Until you accept the fact that you're mortal and that your physical body is going to die one day. I hate to break it to you folks, but human beings have a 100% mortality rate. Yep. Every single one of us is going to die. We're going to be topsoil. We're going to be topsoil. That's the final destination of the physical body, any way you slice it. I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing. I've died more than anybody I know. I remember a lot of the death cycles. I'm not talking about my physical body, but the cycles I've gone through in my life. Relationships are a really good example, where you meet somebody and the relationship is born. And you go through your honeymoon stage and you move in together. Well, there's your growth stage. And then there's the decay. This is when you find out she squeezes the toothpaste in the middle of the tube. And every time she brushes her hair, there's 10 million of them in the sink. And you find out that she actually does pass wind, contrary to her own claims. And she's finding out all the same kind of things about you. And the relationship goes into decay. That's never a fun part of relationships. Then comes the death cycle. And these are the pivotal moments where one of two things happen. You both say, forget it, see you later, and you go your own ways. And then the rebirth takes place with you as an individual, not in a relationship again. Or you can have the moment of truth where you finally get honest with one another and you address your concerns and everything gets put out on the table and you die together and you recommit and you're rebirthed together and the whole cycle begins again. I've done both. I've done both in the same relationship. It's an inevitable part of anything that's alive. It's going to go through this cycle. It's going to grow, it's going to decay, and it's going to die. People ignore death because they're afraid of it. They don't know what's coming next. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been a human being that's come back from the other side. We don't have any first-hand accounts of what happens after a human being dies. That's a fact. And I like sticking to the facts. I like talking about things that I know. And if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. It opens up the doors for me to learn, for me to advance my knowledge. If I start talking bullshit, well, and I'm just another preacher, and that's certainly not my intention. God knows they've done enough damage in the world. Here's what I know. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Well, folks, if you start analyzing yourself, you'll come to the realization sooner or later that what you are is an accumulation of energies. You are energy. I am energy. So back to that first law of thermodynamics. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. This is a law. What that law says is that Gary Tucker, as energy, has always been here. And that Gary Tucker, as energy, is always going to be here. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Boom! Boom! Well, there goes all the fear, or at least it should. When our physical body dies, there's not a doubt in my brain that there's going to be a rebirthing experience of some type. I don't exactly know what that is. I'm comfortable with the first law of thermodynamics. I'm comfortable with living a fearless life. If Tony Soprano was right, and we die and everything just goes black forever, oh well. I'm really not going to be worrying about it too much at that point. But I do know that if I choose to believe that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, and if my assessment that I am energy and you are energy is accurate, then life goes on in one form or another. And I find that exciting, and I find that liberating, and I think you should too. I get these stupid heart attacks. They're called widowmakers. I get blood clots in my LAD, which is a major artery of the heart. 50% of the people that get these clots and have these heart attacks die before they make it to the hospital. Another 25% die after they get to the hospital. And I've survived 5 of them. I've been on death's doorstep many times. That's only the tip of the icebergs. I'm not afraid to die. And I'm not afraid to live consequently. You can't live a proper, healthy life if you're afraid of dying. You can't begin to properly evolve as a human being until you do come to terms with the fact that your physical body is going to die. Don't put it off as something in the distant future. It could happen tomorrow. Acknowledge it. One of my favorite authors is Carlos Castaneda. And he writes about an anthropologist who goes down to Mexico and discovers a guru kind of guy named Don Juan. And Don Juan encourages Carlos Castaneda to accept death as his ally, as his friend, always over his left shoulder. And it's this acknowledgement that death is just around the corner in one form or another for all of us, that gives the oomph to your actions, that allows you to make decisions and carry through with everything you got. That's living. That's living. So's this. I'm going to keep it short today, folks. I think I'm going to dive into the ocean, have another swim, experience the rebirth that happens when all the stink goes off my body from a long day at work. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I hope you're having a good one. Bye for now.